Everything. Oh, here we go. I'm like, why am I muted? And like, how do I unmute myself?
Hey, you look cute today. You always look cute though.
Oh, thank you. I went to Last Chance, so uh,
We've got one in Tucson, but I mean all we really have down here is a Ross and a Dillard's, and not really my thing.
come visit.
I
Come
know, I know.
visit.
How are you feeling today?
Pretty good, pretty good. Just, it's one of those like kind of like catching up days. So this morning I went to my chiropractor. You've got to go see him. He's the absolute best. He's very intuitive. He uses a little device so he can adjust like every little tendon, every little bone, just the way it needs to be adjusted. And it just made me think about what I was saying. It might be fun to talk about maintenance, like self care maintenance, and not just in the spiritual, which is also important, but in the physical, right? And it's like, especially me being a holistic doctor, it's much better to just strive to take care of yourself than to wait till like everything hits the fan and then be chasing a crisis, whether it's with uh getting the flu or your injuries or and I'm sure you've been through this too. It's like even with like the self-care stuff, when you slip off of your flow because it's hard to be consistently awesome, then you're like, well.
Yeah, that's really funny. So I'm working on rebuilding my habits because of that maintenance thing. Because
Mhm.
we get on these boosts of self-care, and I think that they come in waves, right? Like we always have this wave at like New Year's, and there's a lot of good energy behind that, but eventually it falls off, and then you have to find that energy to bring it back in over and over again. And I think sometimes just um that finding the energy for that boost can be exhausting. And I think that's where habits and lifestyle are really going to be our friend. And that's what I'm trying to shift out of. I'm trying to shift away from the boosts and move into how can I change my routine and how can I change my lifestyle so that I'm prioritizing that maintenance.
Right, and that's what I did a little talk this weekend at like this health fair, and I somehow went on a tangent about how like healing, it's not like, okay, I'm gonna do this ayahuasca ceremony and this detox. It's not like a one and done. It's not like a destination thing. It's a lifestyle,
Hmm.
right? It's a lifestyle, and of course it has like its peaks and valleys, but it's always moving up, and it's like it just has to be a lifestyle.
It is a lifestyle, and I think that we have to pair it with, you have those habits that you build, and I'm working on that, especially with like an exercise habit, and
Can
that'll
we
segue into
highlight
something
you
else.
really quick? Like I might misquote this, but Chanel's been like going on this long urban hike almost every day, and I want to say it's like 4 miles or something.
It is. So I live in Bisbee, Arizona, which is like minutes away from the southern border. And it's this little gem of a community. In fact, Cochise County is wonderful. But Bisbee is like on these really, it's a mining town, it's on these really tall verticals, and there's stairs everywhere. And so there's this course called the Bisbee 1000, and it's 1,000 stairs, and it's about 4.25 miles, and it's right outside my door. So I've been doing that, and my ass looks fantastic, by the way. But I'm using that as a bigger goal, right? So, oh yeah, no, I'm like, you should see me in the mirror. I'm like super vain about my butt right now.
Yay!
So, but I'm pairing with all of these lifestyle changes, but there's also, I think, those I don't like those bigger goals, like those chunk goals or those one-off events. So you kind of have to do a little bit of both. Like I've done not keratin with you. I was just looking at keratin. I've done the ketamine with you, but I also know that health and diet have a direct effect on all parts of my daily life. So I can't just do the ketamine. I have to look at exercise, which I have been neglecting, and I have to look at diet, and I have to look at, daily gratitude. Like those are lifestyle changes that are both supported by and boosted by those chunk healing events.
Right, and here's like a fun thing too that it just came to me, but like so like for exercise, just getting into a habit, right? What do they say, like the 21 days, like just sticking with it. Having a buddy is great. Like my friend Sarah, like we like to go to the river on Sunday, or we want to go on a hike. Like so then it's much easier to go because you can flake out on yourself real easy. I have found that personally, right? But
Well, and I think that's the difference because like you're very much an extrovert and I'm very much an introvert. For me, my urban hikes are very meditative. And if
um,
somebody wanted to come on my hike with me, I would two things would happen because I've done this urban hike with others. I'm irritated that I have to expend my energy around them. And then they don't feel as rewarding if I'm by myself because the things that come through my brain when
right,
I'm exercising. But I know, I've got another girlfriend here close where she's not going to exercise unless she's got somebody to do it with because that's who
right,
she is. And knowing
right.
that I think is important.
True. True.
So,
And then maybe it's doing that habit building, like sticking with it. Like I'm gonna do it, and then it becomes like a flow.
yeah, and so I think you are too, but I am addicted to Mind Valley. I love Mind Valley. So I recently finished off a one of their quests, and it talks about being indistractable. And one of the key components is time blocking, which I have been working on and tweaking. And so if you look at my calendar, it looks like a big fat mess. But what I've actually done is schedule in everything that I want to do, including my house cleaning. And I've been experimenting with that and I'm completely in love. And there was other topics and tricks, but the time blocking has really made a huge difference for me. And I've set up my phone so when my phone clings, I go to the next task. And I am being disciplined about like not interrupting myself. And this is just that lifestyle
I
change
love
that
it.
we're talking about. So
I
that's
love
been
it.
huge. That's for me, that's been huge because it's allowing me to prioritize my week and my day and make sure that I have time for healing, I have time for nutrition, I have time for meditation, exercise, all of those things that support a lifestyle change that contributes to that maintenance you were talking about.
Yeah, and then about the gratitude thing, I have for years given the positive psychology homework to like everyone from retreat goers to patients, to small groups of in the morning. Think of three things that you're grateful for. And you could either just think about it, you could
Mm-hmm.
write it in a journal. If you live with someone, you could do it over coffee. And I had one woman that was a mom, married, and she said she started writing it on a little white board on the fridge.
Nice.
And she noticed that her husband started being a lot nicer and the kids were happy.
Oh,
So that's another fun idea too. If you live with people, yeah, or even here at the clinic, we have the whiteboard. We could write it on the board every morning, the three
make it
things that we're
obvious.
grateful for. And then on the flip side, what I like is at the end of the day, is you think of three things that went well. And then if
Mm-hmm.
and so first sometimes it's even hard for people to like even think, right, like of three things that went well. So it's kind of like going to the gym where you get better at it. But once you can do that, then you could say what went well about it, why was it well, like, and go
Yep.
into it, right? And a lot of times it's fun to take something that could have like went wrong and flip it around, right? Like, oh well, we got that really crabby waitress, but we really turned her around and she left happy and it was great, or something like that.
Yeah. Well, so I'm smiling because I have an old-fashioned paper day planner.
I love
Um,
those.
and and I use my phone because it gives me automatic stuff, but I do a lot of my journaling inside my day planner. And I do mine at the end of the day because what I do is I look at everything I got done and everything I have to transfer over tomorrow. What do I have to do tomorrow? Because I don't like starting my day like in disarray. Like, oh my God, what do I have to do today? So what I do is I have my I've actually scheduled this into my calendar now because I'm trying to create better habits. Because I would do it for a couple days, and then I wouldn't do it for a few weeks, then I would do it again, and then not. So I've actually made it a calendar event to wind down my day and plan for tomorrow, which is turning into some really good habit building for me. But I do 2 to 5 things that I'm grateful for at the end of the day. And then I do one thing that moved me towards a goal and one thing that moved me away from my goal. And how can I correct it moving forward? So for me, trying to not beat myself up about a decision that didn't serve a goal is something that I'm having to heal.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And the other things, because I just had a meeting with Sean over here, is probably down there and busy too. I can imagine people are getting sick. Like this cold and flu season has kicked off. And I always encourage, I do this myself, is to do maintenance health treatments and immune treatments, right? To keep myself boosted up, like energetically, detox wise, immune system wise, right? So we like here we love the ozone IV, glutathione IVs, vitamin D injections. I've got these new detox drops I'm crazy about. You're gonna have to try them. Everyone's on them, and it's crazy. You take one drop, and literally everyone has been detoxing like emotions, people, things coming out of the skin from one drop, right? And like sleeping at night, like dreaming, their hair is growing, like it's crazy. I love it, but it's like we constantly need to be detoxing and taking care of our immune system. And even I went to the chiropractor. I'm not like a pain person, but I find that if I don't go semi regularly, I will get like a thing in my neck and I'll get a headache, right? So just like popping in like every 3 weeks or so and just getting like a touch up and staying in front of things before they go
Yeah.
downhill. It's so good.
Well, I mean, you invited me up for the week or for a couple days this week, but I have my routine dental cleaning tomorrow.
Oh, I
And
love going to the dentist and getting my
oh,
dental
I don't
cleaning.
too. But I am not willing, but those things are scheduled for forever out. So it's like I'm not willing, even though I want to come and see you, I am not
You gotta like
willing
get
to
that. Yeah.
disrupt my maintenance habits really for anybody. Now, 5 years ago, I'd have been like, oh yeah, I'll cancel. But nowadays, like my health is so important that I'm just not willing to do that.
And I
Even
want to go down
for
there and do the stairs with you.
girl, you gotta come down. I'm cleaning my house. So I'm on this one week, I'm on this like one time event, like trying to get my house clean because I'm trying to create a sacred space because my life is always so cluttered. I know your place is
Yes.
cute. So I have to tell you, we're talking about maintenance, but I have to tell you because I've been struggling with plantar fasciitis, which you are aware of. And you know, I am a huge proponent of all types of medical care, including energy healing and energy medicine. And so I've been really like meditating and focusing and doing all these different energy modalities to heal my feet, and I've been getting no relief. So, and I've been working, I got some good treatment from you. I've been doing the chiropractor, I've been doing osteopathic medicine, acupuncture, you name it, myofascial deep tissue. If it was a treatment available, I was doing it on top of doing energy healing. And so what I've learned over my years with energy healing is there's 2 types of energy healing, and this kind of like hit me like a ton of bricks over the weekend. There's the
Mhm.
general crap that we have to heal, right? Just shit that kind of hits us, thought forms, thoughts that aren't ours. But then there's another type of energy healing, and those are thoughts and energies and vibrations that we need to change. And those ones
Yes.
they require some action from us other than just
Yeah.
cleansing. And this is what I found out this weekend. I was meditating on Saturday or Sunday and like near tears, like what is going on with my feet? Because I'm like almost crippled and I want to do this exercise routine. And every time this is what happened, this is the trigger. Every time I pick up or I try to introduce an exercise routine, I get injured. Every goddamn time. And then I started like unpacking it, and my feet started hurting 5 days before I went on my trip to Oaxaca, which was going to be 5 to 10 days a day of walking and exercising. And my feet started hurting. And by the time my trip was done, I was in near tears, and I've been trying to do exercise. And then last year, I joined CrossFit and I loved it, but I kept getting injured. And over the years, this has been my pattern. So I'm like, what the fuck? So, this is what I've unpacked, and this is part of my energy healing on this topic. I consistently was told or told myself that exercise hurts. Right? So no matter how much energy healing I had, I still had this thought and this energy and this idea and this programming that energy causes pain. Now I know from all the, all the YouTubes and the, webinars and whatnot, that energy actually heals and regenerates and relieves pain. But I had a subconscious thought that exercise causes pain. And so what happened every time I tried to exercise? I got hurt or I've started having injuries flare up. So I was able to release all of that over the weekend for that energy healing, and my feet are completely not cleared up, but like night and day different just within a couple of days, and I can feel it releasing. So I'm still doing the traditional medicines. I still have the osteopathic net tomorrow because I did so much damage physically, but I had to clear out those thoughts and
Yeah.
insert new thoughts
Yeah.
in conjunction with my traditional and alternative medicine. So I wanted to share that with you.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I'd love you to come up because I have some fun ideas for that too, like extra stuff, but just the same thing. Think about some classics are like, um like you have to work hard to be successful, right? Like that's really ingrained in like me and I think our society even, right? Like you've
Yeah.
got to like bust it hard, like, bleh, what's a 2 week vacation? What's that? You know?
Hmm.
And like letting go of that, like that could be like the last generation's like thought pattern and the way they chose to live, but it doesn't necessarily like need to be that way. So I'm not saying like sit on the couch and eat potato chips and like
Right.
expect your life
There's
to happen for you.
there's a balance there of action. I mean, you have to take action. I mean, I think a lot of this new age guru stuff is you think it and it happens. It leaves out the whole action part, which really pisses me off. I mean, you are a go, go, go kind of a gal, and I'm a go, go, go type of a gal. So, I mean, I challenge anybody to keep up with the two of us, but I also challenge anybody. But like, we also balance family, friends, and personal health, and yet we still manage to be highly productive. And I'm still learning ways where I could optimize my schedule, change some thoughts to be even more productive. But the funny thing is the more I optimize and the more I heal, the easier and the less stressed those things become. So like I'm actually healthier now, but I'm more productive and I continue to become more healthier and more productive. And my stress is like non-existent.
Systems.
Well, I mean, you're in the medical field. What I mean, just from what I read, it seems like stress and mental anguish of some sort seems to be the source of all disease.
Well, yeah, the mind is so strong, right? The mind is so strong, and just finding a way to like be true to yourself and flow in a healthy way, like that's the secret. What I've really identified, so you've got stress, and below stress, which may be helping the stress come out, is trauma, right? Which no one got out unscathed on that one. And then there's these two other side things that I'm really dialing in on, which is the electroradiation. Right, there's
Mhm.
that, so minimizing that and doing something for the energy there, and then there's the toxins, like whether it's parasites, mold, heavy metals, so like the detoxing. So I think that those are like your obstacles to cure, and I feel like it can maybe be kind of simple, and then maybe just taking a walk on the beach and you feel great, right? And then maybe it's just like watching the sunset and you feel great, but like those are kind of like the little things that we kind of have to like move a little bit out of the way and get some skills and move it. Like we were just had a meeting on this. We're done with the coping skills. No, we're not coping. We're moving into thriving and evolving. Coping is like tired. We're not coping.
No, I'm so glad you said that because I mean, I've been in and out of therapy and EMDR, for my complex PTSD. And I remember like 5, 6 years ago, I met this woman and she was like the go-to person for domestic violence, especially where it pervaded to the children. And and I'm going to misquote this conversation a little bit, but she was going to counseling twice a week. She says it like this. She's like, I'm down to counseling twice a week and I feel great. And then she talks about all of these coping skills. And she was 4, 5, 6 years out of abuse. And she was really basically communicating that I was going to be a slave to my trauma and PTSD, my complex PTSD. Me, right. And this was the woman, like this was the go-to woman for domestic violence in the state, right? And I was remember hanging up the phone thinking to myself, this woman has the saddest life. She's overcome nothing. She's not interested in overcoming anything. All she does, she goes to talk therapy and then it ends there. And she's angry and bitter and she was overweight, and I don't mean overweight like I could lose some pounds but I'm never going to. She was that unhealthy overweight, right? Like her skin was bad and she just, you know what I'm saying, like that type of an overweight, that unhealthy overweight. And I remember coming out of it, and it's a sad thing to say, but she was my motivation. I'm like, I don't want to be this woman in 5, 6 years because that's where I was headed. I was told repeatedly you cannot heal complex PTSD. Somewhat with your help, a lot of it with your help, especially recently, I have conquered probably 90 to 95% of that PTSD. But there's other, you have to kind of package everything in there. But coping, everybody's all about the coping, and we can give you survival skills and coping skills. Fuck your coping skills. I want to be a badass day in and day out, and I want to heal it and release it. And I don't want my body holding on to that just because I'm coping. I'm learning to live with stress. I'm learning to live with physical pain. Absolutely not. It's not acceptable. We need to stop telling people, especially abuse victims and PTSD victims, that it's acceptable to live with it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So I think that that was a lot of energy. So maybe that's a good note to leave on. So we're people out there, you don't need to cope. You can thrive. You've already survived. Surviving's over. You made it. Time to thrive.
Yeah. So absolutely, I definitely agree with you. I love you a lot. You look super cute. You miss you down here, but we'll get you down here. It's nice. I'm wearing a sweatshirt. So you're what? You're 15 degrees or what were you the 90s still?
It's hot. It gets hot around 1:30 to 3. It gets hot. So, and just one thing I'm grateful for is I got to go to the river yesterday. I
Nice.
took Rocio. It was her first time, and guess who was there? The river otter peeking up, and a little
Oh,
horse was
lovely.
just like hanging out for like hours and hours, and like a fish just like jumped up, looked totally fake. It was so it was like an awesome little like river reset.
So you went to Salt River down there by Canyon Lake? Yeah.
Hmm.
Anybody from Central Arizona especially knows those spots well. So, all right, cool. Tell everybody I said hi, and I will see you next week.
I'll check in with you later. I love you. Bye.
Bye. Love you too.